Ohio State, Iowa, big noon kickoff at the Shoe. Hawkeye fans, do you dare watch? Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We ask that you like the video. It helps us build the channel. Please share the videos out on social media. Not everyone knows that we're here talking college football every day and discussing, debating, and analyzing the sport we all love with you each and every day. So get those video links out there and subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. Please subscribe and hit the bell for the notifications to know when we go live, which is constantly. We've got 25 team channels, including an Ohio State and an Iowa channel, so subscribe there as well. All right, Hawkeyes and Buckeyes. The last time they met, 2017. Big grin on Iowa fans' faces right now, not so much for the Buckeye fans. A shocking, surprising, 3-touchdown underdog Iowa team, 55 points on the board to 24 for Ohio State, with 4 turnovers going Iowa's way. And, of course, they just picked 6 right out of the gate. And it was a shocking result at Kinnick Stadium. Iowa won it big. 2013, the last time they met at the Shoe. Decent ball game, won 34-24 in that one. All right, let's get to this matchup. When Ohio State's offense is on the field versus Iowa's defense, wow, this should be really fun, exciting football. Chess match stuff. Strength versus strength. We've been anticipating this for the entire off season. However, we also have to get the Iowa offense on the field against the Ohio State defense. Now, that was a situation which during the off season, anticipating this game, we thought, okay, Iowa's defense or Iowa's offense will have to be better. And we'll see if the Ohio State defense has gotten better. Well, the Buckeyes defense has gotten a whole lot better. The Iowa offense, has it really gotten worse? It's the worst in college football. Statistically, and it probably just flat out is the worst offense in college football. Number 123 in the nation in 2021. And I thought that's a statistical anomaly. There's no way that they can get worse offensively. That's basically impossible because there's just too many low-level G5 teams out there. But Iowa has achieved the level of garbage. 131 in the nation in total offense, bottom 5 in scoring offense. They did lose the best center in the country and what has become one of the best wide receivers in the Big Ten in Charlie Jones. He has 62 catches. He wouldn't have caught 62 balls in his career at Iowa. Okay, those guys are gone. Who's left and what should we expect? Well, Spencer Petras is a veteran quarterback who has been the starter at Iowa for 2.5 years. He started off his career as a guy that was a game manager. Okay, that's fine. That fits the Iowa offense. That fits the prototype. Hand the ball off, throw it 20 or 22 times capably, efficiently, move the sticks, hit for a few big plays, put up 20, 25 points, and let the Iowa defense win the ball game, but don't get in their way. And that's pretty much what they did for the most part in a 6-2 2020 season. But last season, the offense regressed. Spencer Petras regressed. 10 touchdowns, 9 picks. He would have to bounce back this year, correct? No. He's completing 54% of his passes, which is 11% less than the average quarterback in college football. He's thrown 2 touchdowns. There's one quarterback in college football. I don't know his name, but he quarterbacks for UMass, who has less touchdown passes. Well, then the next disclaimer would be, well, of course, Spencer Petras and Iowa throw the ball so much less than Ohio State. Petras and C.J. Stroud have almost identically the same number of pass attempts. And Spencer Petras has thrown 2 touchdowns, 54% completion percentage. But it's the yardage output by this offense, and it's the scoring output that is so incredibly dismal and continues to be dismal. Their big prolific game of the season, 27 points against a bad G5 Nevada team. That has been the scoring output for Iowa football this year as they have lost week after week after week in the Big Ten. Their last outing was against Illinois. They scored 6 points. Do they have a plus player on the offense? Well, their big plus player, game changer, guy that can move the needle, cause a problem for the defense, has to be game planned around to a certain extent, would be obviously Sam Laporta. He's got 30 catches. He is the next in line of Iowa great tight ends. But he's the guy. They've got a couple guys in the backfield who are decent. Caleb Johnson, 4.6 yards per carry. An Ohio native who probably has the potential to be the best in the running back room. And then also LaShawn Williams has carried the ball the most at 3.7 yards per carry. So even the stereotype of Iowa football is not what this team is achieving. The stereotype being, well, pass to the tight end to produce points and run the football effectively. Nope, the offensive line's not good. They don't protect Spencer Petras. So for as much as the blame goes to Spencer Petras to a certain extent, because he has not been playing well at all this season, hasn't had a good game, he's also been under siege. The offensive line is not run blocked or pass blocked, either one. So it's basically Sam Laporta, and it's the possibility of Caleb Johnson or LaShawn Williams doing something if they get a little space. They're capable. They have shown that in the past. The wide receiver position is thin, again, minus Charlie Jones, who moved on. Arlen Bruce has 14 catches for a touchdown. Nico Reganey, 13 catches. 126th in the nation in pass efficiency offense, 129th in touchdowns. Again, UMass with one. 119th in completion percentage, number 120 in yardage per game. Blah. Against an Ohio State defense that is much improved. Athletic, loaded with talent, especially along the defensive front, just playing remarkably. However, we understand they haven't played anybody really that good. But Iowa doesn't present the challenge. So who's the best offense Ohio State's played? As they have basically generated a defensive performance that is roughly top 5 in the nation. I would say either Notre Dame with a strong rushing attack, and with at the time their starting quarterback Tyler Buckner. They scored 10 points in the first half, moved the ball, but then couldn't budge the Ohio State defense in the second half. Or Michigan State. For as bad as Sparty is overall, Peyton Thorne's a quality quarterback, mobile quarterback. Jaden Reed, Keon Coleman, capable receivers. The Buckeyes held them down to 20 points and really 2 touchdowns that mattered in that game. So those are the 2 best offenses that the Ohio State defense has played, but they're thin in the secondary, both based on some poor play in spots and then also some injuries in the secondary. But the Ohio State defense, again, under Jim Knowles, much improved. Okay, let's flip it from weaknesses. We'd start with the weaknesses. Not really a weakness for the Buckeyes now, but in comparison, probably the best offense in college football. Tennessee is pushing for that mantle, but we'll stay with the Buckeyes right now. Do they have a weakness? No, they do not have a weakness. Oh, except for they're human, meaning they can make mistakes, but more so that they can get hurt. They have flesh and blood. They can get hurt. We saw Travion Henderson have to leave the field against Michigan State. He had missed time prior to that. Got back on the field against Michigan State, ran for $120, looked great, but had to leave the field limping. And Mayan Williams, who of course became the main back in Henderson's absence, had 5 touchdowns the previous week, has missed time and missed the Michigan State as well. Jackson Smith and Jigba might be the best wide receiver in college football, but we haven't got to see him this year. He caught 2 passes in the first couple drives against Notre Dame, and he's not seen the field since. We expect him back. Ryan Day has hinted and been pretty blunt that he's close. He's going to come back. Maybe Ohio State is waiting for when he is needed, but they have not needed him. Marvin Harrison Jr., and one of the great stats is we go through the Iowa offense, and I know we already did. We could sit here endlessly. They come up with better metrics to talk about that just leave you head scratching more than anything. This would be one. Ohio State's offense has scored 41 touchdowns. Iowa has scored 7 touchdowns, 41-7. Marvin Harrison Jr., a wide receiver, scored 9 touchdowns. Iowa scored 7 touchdowns, and Ohio State has outscored Iowa in every quarter, meaning every Ohio State quarter has outscored Iowa's complete season. Think about that one. And then again, Spencer Petras, 2 touchdown passes in the same amount of passing attempts as C.J. Stroud with 24. What has probably improved most for the Buckeyes this season? The offensive line. Full of NFL players. Last year, they lost 2 to the NFL draft, but still nastier this year. They were challenged after the Michigan loss to be nastier. The run game had to be nastier, tougher, more physical, and they are. Put on the Notre Dame game in particular, it started there. That's when they proved it first and foremost in the second half against Notre Dame. Have they played a good defense? Well, Notre Dame is ranked 39th in the country. Wisconsin, despite their issues in the win-loss column, number 23 overall defense. I know they've played some FCS teams. And Rutgers actually has a top 10 defense in the nation. Are they really that good? No, not quite. But Rutgers still fields a good defense. So unlike the Ohio State defense not being challenged, the Ohio State offense has been challenged by decent defenses. And they've, of course, produced arguably the best offense in college football, either 1 or 2 in both scoring and in total yards. Best case scenario for Iowa, worst case scenario. Okay, let's not get ridiculous here, although Iowa's track record, and even these players' track record in producing wins that led to a Big Ten Western Division championship last year, meant turning the ball over, getting turnovers, and producing points. Not producing turnovers that led to points by the offense, but just flat out them scoring their own points, like they did this season against Rutgers, where Iowa scored 3 touchdowns, the offense scored 1, the defense scored 2. That's the way the Hawkeyes do it, and they'll have to do it, you would think. But let's not go crazy. They're not going to have 3 pick sixes in this game and block a punt, because the special teams are exceptional as well, for a touchdown. But let's say a pick 6 or a scoop and score and some other turnovers, and the rest of the time forcing Ohio State into lengthy drives. We saw Michigan at the end of last season beat Ohio State and contain this passing attack with 2 tremendous games by the outside rushers, man on man, against the 2 tackles, David Ajabo and Aiden Hutchinson, beating the 2 tackles consistently to C.J. Stroud and pressuring him. We saw Notre Dame be effective by laying back umbrella coverage, tackle in space. Phil Parker basically has a set defensive approach. He sticks with it, and Iowa excels, not because they necessarily fool a lot of people, but the players are so sound that they at times fool the quarterback and bait the quarterback, but they're just well developed. They've got a sound scheme. They play it. They execute. Take the Illinois game. Illinois may not sound by name. Forget the name. Look at the numbers and look at the performance. Tommy DeVito and company, they're playing well. Well, DeVito left the game against Iowa, so the Hawkeyes caught a break there. Artur Sitkowski is nothing close to DeVito. The point, though, is that Illinois is producing points in yardage against everybody else, but not against Iowa. So the Hawkeyes can do it. Even Michigan only had 20 points when it really counted in their matchup in Iowa City. The Hawkeyes may not be vintage Hawkeyes defense, but they're close. My thoughts about this one, I think Iowa's got a lot of pride. I think they're going to come prepared. I think they're going to be laser focused. I don't believe they're going to be intimidated. The talent gap is pretty wide, and of course the execution on offense by Ohio State versus the Iowa lack of execution on offense is miles apart. The best and the worst. Hawkeyes hang around. Buckeyes break free. Win at 31-10. That's my final score. Get the rest of my picks on Patreon. I'm 25-12 against the spread the last 2 weeks. It's pretty good. 25-12 against the spread last 2 weeks. Haven't had that good of a season, but 60% is still the goal. And that's pretty darn good. So check us out on Patreon. You get so much more than that. You get the Discord where you can talk college football 24/7, 365 right here at the Voice of College Football.